Hello, and welcome to our series, Learn with a Doc. My name is Dr. Kelsey Phillips. I'm excited to be working with you today. The Science Zone is committed to making sure that our children have access to high-quality scientific programming during the coronavirus outbreak. A big thank you to Rotary Club of Casper for providing funding to support our endeavors and this virtual learning series. So let's learn together. First of all, welcome. I'm excited to be working with you, and I can't wait to see the amazing results and the observations that you'll share in the Facebook feed. Let's talk a little bit about safety. All of the activities that we will complete in this series are family friendly. They're designed to be conducted by the entire family around the table. So let's remember a little bit about safety. Please, Mom and Dad, if you notice your child needs help using something like the stove, go ahead and jump in and help them. Be sure to let your child direct and ask questions. But let's make sure everybody stays safe. Okay. We'll talk about science as a process of knowing. The scientific method is an amazing process, and we'll look at the scientific method and we'll explore a little bit of each step along the way in this series. Today we're going to focus on observation. We're going to use the properties of matter, specifically with water, to make observations. We're going to use great detail in describing things that happen to water in a very basic and easy to conduct activity using materials you already have at home. Okay. I'll provide an introduction to our investigation. Let's go. So first, we need to understand that science is a process of knowing. You'll notice that I use the word process here. We say process because it can change. So our knowledge of the world around us is consistently evolving and improving. Each day, there are new scientific discoveries that are made that better our understanding of how the world works around us. So we never really prove anything in science. We continue looking. It's a process. And that process begins with observation. Put on your thinking caps, bring out those 5 senses. We're going to need every single one of them in our activity. Good observation requires great notes and good documentation. Bring along your smartphone and keep those cameras rolling. Share your observations in the Facebook feed. After we make observations, usually we develop a question. We notice that things seem to be connected. We can make a prediction to help us understand the process of what is going on. Okay. So a hypothesis is based on prior knowledge or data, and it is a proposed explanation for things that we observe. Okay. The next step in the scientific method is to conduct an experiment. Experimental design is a fascinating and wonderful part of the scientific method. It requires meticulous detail. Don't worry, I'll be here and I'll provide all of the methodology that you'll need to complete this series. We use experiments to test hypotheses. It's not a hypothesis if it's not testable. Today, we'll only be working with observation. I want you to tune in those observation skills because in the next lesson, we'll begin forming hypotheses. Okay. After we design an experiment, we conduct the experiment and we collect results. The results are analyzed and they help us draw informed conclusions. We then ask, do our results support the hypothesis? Okay. Notice that I'm using the word support and not prove. We don't use the word prove in science because science is a process. Our understanding of the world around us changes with each day, and it gets better with every single day and every single experiment that is conducted. Einstein is famed for saying, "No amount of experimentation could ever prove me right, yet one single experiment could prove me wrong." So we say that if the results are what we expect, then they support the hypothesis. At that point, we've probably developed a lot more questions. At that point, the process continues and we go right back up with observations and we continue down the process again. Sometimes we get unexpected results. Those are okay. It's okay to have an experiment that doesn't go the way you thought it might. Some of the most important discoveries have been made by unexpected results. Penicillin is a great example of that. That's a great question to ask in the Facebook feed. If our results don't support our hypothesis, then we say that the hypothesis is rejected. And then we begin the scientific process again. Science is a great field. You can't ever get bored because you always get to go back and start again with a new question. Eventually, many different experiments start showing a common theme. When we have enough evidence that supports a common theme, what happens is a scientific theory is developed. A scientific theory is not just a guess, and it's not just, "I think." It's supported by multiple lines of evidence, multiple experiments showing a common theme. It's important to understand that with a scientific theory, there's no credible evidence to refute the hypothesis. So at that point, we develop a scientific theory. We won't be doing that in this series. Again, today we're going to tune in our observation skills. So bring those 5 senses, let's learn together. Okay, let's look at the 3 states of matter. Okay, 3 states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Let's look at it with water. Ice is a solid that we know is in our freezer. Okay, here's one of my kids looking at the liquid state of water. Okay, what you're looking at here is steam. Okay, as water boils, it forms a gas. And those water molecules come far apart, they disperse, and they make a gas. And that gas, what you're seeing here, is called steam. Steam is hot. Okay, there's water molecules in the air all around us. Indeed, that's what humidity is called. In Wyoming, we have a lot fewer water molecules in the air than we would in somewhere like Florida. Today's lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to make observations. I'm going to start off with some questions. What happens when steam, okay, hot water vapor, steam is hot water vapor, comes into contact with a mirror? How could you observe this? Tell me in the Facebook feed. We'll also look at what happens when water vapor cools. In this picture, you see 2 investigators looking to see what happens when water vapor comes up from a boiling pot of water and hits a cold frying pan that has ice in it. We'll make observations and then we'll make connections to the natural world around us. I look forward to seeing your observations in the Facebook feed. Let's go. Okay. To begin, download the handout accompanying this video. Just like a recipe, you want to read that handout. Read it really well Gather all of the materials. The last thing you want to do is have to run across the kitchen to grab something when you're in the middle of a process. Do the activity. I invite you to do this as a family. There's nothing more exciting than discovering new things together. Keep those cameras rolling. Post your videos, post your pictures, post your questions in the Facebook feed. I'll be following you every step of the way as you post your observations, and we will learn together. Post your observations and your questions. There's no question that is silly. Okay? I'm excited to answer as many questions as I possibly can. There might even be some that I don't know the answer to. And that's okay too. All right. The next thing we need to do is go skinny dipping. Okay. We're not going to go skinny dipping. We're going to send an egg skinny dipping. I'm going to bring in some helpers to show us exactly what I mean. Wow. I have two special helpers here today. We are going to send a raw egg skinny dipping. Actually, we're going to send two. These are raw eggs in a jar. If you don't have a jar, you can use anything in your house that you can put a raw egg into very gently. Okay. And then we're going to pour vinegar over the top. Now we have eggs that are completely submerged in vinegar. Isaac, is there something exciting happening?
There's bubbles.
We've made an observation. We don't want to spoil the surprise. So make sure you send skinny eggs, or make sure you send eggs skinny dipping as a family. If you don't have eggs or vinegar at home, it's okay. I have plenty and I'll do plenty of demonstrations. Be sure to be mindful of social distancing. If you can, stay out of the stores. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.